I'm Alex Newman with the New American Magazine, and today I want to talk to you about Trump's firing of FBI Chief James Comey and the absolute explosion, the foaming at the mouth by all the swamp creatures. So as many of you have seen already on the news, the swamp went totally nuts when Trump announced that James Comey was being fired. They pushed, again, their crazy conspiracy theories. They said, oh, Trump is actually just a Russian agent and James Comey was going to figure it out, and so that's why he fired Comey. Of course, that's absolute nonsense. If they had actually bothered to report on the letter that Trump sent Comey, they would know that Comey had already told Trump on multiple occasions that he was not being investigated for alleged ties to the Kremlin, right? So the conspiracy theory at this point is, in my opinion, completely debunked. They've had 6-7 months now to come up with some evidence that their conspiracy theory is true, or that it's even supported by any data, any evidence at all. So far, they've come up with nothing, and this has come out over and over and over again. So the establishment media and a lot of the Democrats at this point, we should call them tinfoil hat wearers. It's really getting to the point where it's ridiculous. They're making up theories, they're pushing theories for absolutely no reason. So a lot of the top Democrats actually spoke out about this. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, and he almost had a meltdown. And this is after just late last year, saying that he had lost all confidence in Comey, and Comey probably needed to go. Tom Perez, the head of the DNC, the Democratic National Committee, he compared it to Watergate. Right? He says Nixonian what's happened here with the firing of Comey. And you even had swamp creatures on ostensibly on the Republican side of the ledger. Right? People like neocon globalist John McCain, who said he was disappointed and he wasn't happy that Comey was fired. And then obviously all the establishment media, Trump calls them the fake news. That's a great term for them. The New York Slimes, the Washington Compost, etc., etc. Their heads just exploded. The New York Times had front page articles invoking Watergate and who knows what else. And talk about making a mountain out of a molehill to push your silly conspiracy theory. So Trump responded by ridiculing all these people. He made fun of crying Chuck Schumer, pointed out that a lot of these exact same people who are up in arms were actually calling for Comey to be fired just a couple of months ago. So what has happened? Well, at this point it's all speculation, but I think it's reasonable to infer that James Comey was protecting certain swamp creatures from prosecution. People like Hillary Clinton come to mind, right? I mean, he had to twist himself into pretzels to explain why Hillary Clinton was not going to be prosecuted, why charges were not going to be recommended after he outlined the legal case for it, right? So we have a big problem, and that is that the nation's quote-unquote law enforcement apparatus is not doing its job. They're protecting important establishment swamp creatures. They're not prosecuting people who ought to be prosecuted, people who've been brazenly committing crimes. And the email thing with Hillary Clinton was only scratching the surface, and Trump knows this. On the campaign trail, over and over and over again, he was talking about lock her up, right? Locking Hillary up. It was a big part of his campaign. And it wasn't just over the emails, right? What about the selling of the uranium to the Russians after they paid Bill Clinton hundreds of thousands of dollars to give some phony speeches, right? What is going on here? So I think the reason that the swamp is up in arms is because they're worried. They're worried that maybe a serious law enforcement person is going to be put there, and then they're going to have to risk, all of the dirty laundry coming out. So Trump is perfectly well within his authority to fire the head of the FBI. He gave very, very good reasons for firing James Comey. He relied on the advice of his Attorney General, Jeff Sessions, his Deputy Attorney General, who put together some really powerful reasons for why he needed to go. And so Trump was well within his authority to do this, and it was probably a very good move. Comey has been obstructing justice for long enough. So let's hope that the replacement does a better job of bringing swamp creatures to justice. There's a lot of them that need to be brought to justice. Trump knows this very well. Jeff Sessions knows this very well. So it's time for some very, very serious draining of the swamp. The American people, you need to get on the phone with Congress. You need to get on the phone with your elected representatives and make clear that you want the swamp drained too. I'm Alex Newman with the New American. Thanks again, and stay tuned.